Okay, this is going to be a deep dive into the route layer specifically of the Whirlwind application. Other layers have been covered in other videos. We've given other high-level introductions, and so this is just going to be specifically, we won't talk about the analysis panel, but we will talk about how to visualize individual routes on your screen and how to color code them. So the first thing is, of course, you can adjust the route thickness and you can change the line color. And so for this, let me first, you can turn on and off positions and we'll turn them off just to sort of illustrate things simpler. It's very easy to visualize by different properties. And so for instance, per route, it just gives a different color to every route. And just to help you differentiate. You can color code them by route model, meaning the weather model that was used. You can click on a route. You'll notice that when you're visualizing the routes by route property, you're just going to highlight the whole route and click on it, and it's going to give you, tell you this was, for this boat, it was routed using this model, what's the arrival tack, distance, duration, and then these are our custom variables that we defined in the custom variable. So I'm not going to go through all of these, but you can, let's just say arrival tack is one. You can color code it by boat. And don't forget that as you, the boat colors are consistent throughout the whole application. So you can go up to your loaded boats and you can change those colors. You can change, again, you can make the routes appear however you want for a particular boat. And if you change the color up here for the boat, it will change the color everywhere that boat is referenced. Let's see, back to the routing panel. You can, in addition to coloring by the route property, you can color by segment properties or by the position properties of the route. I should also mention there's statistics here. So you can color by the init date time of the model that was used to run the route, the total number of tacks, the total number of jibes in the route, the total numbers of tacks or jibes, all maneuvers, the max wind speed, etc. So these are just different statistics that are route, for the whole route, and you can just change the color by it. And then that gets us down to coloring by segment of the route. And so we can color by, again, anything that you might want to know: true wind speed, true wind angle, true wind direction, apparent wind angle, apparent wind direction, SOD cog, VMG. Sensitivity, this is a polar sensitivity, and this is the geometric average of the polar sensitivity to wind speed and the polar sensitivity to wind angle. So just general sensitivity, and then you also have those. You also have wave height, wave direction, wave period. I'll show you how to set those in a minute, but we have multiple wave models that we can choose from. So, and then tack. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, I don't know why that might be broken. And then we also have depth. We have a high resolution depth mask. We don't use the absolute depth. We bucket it into shallow, medium, shallow, and deep, and so that's what you're looking at here. But you can just visualize according to whatever you want, and then of course you also can visualize according to your custom defined variables. We can go back up to, let's just do it by boat. Maneuvers are your tacks and jibes, so you can see you can color code your tacks and jibes. You have your time indicators. Your time indicators are always everywhere in the application. A horizontal red line is now, and then a blue line is wherever the time slider is set. So you can see it takes a second. There we go. Now, so wherever I set this time indicator, it's going to redraw the blue lines representing where that route is at the selected time. We also have wind barbs. You can set it to hover only. You can set it all the time. You can change the color of everything, of the wind barbs. We have positions. You can color code your positions. The default is same as the line, but you can color code your positions according to anything you might want. You can also change the size of the dot according to whatever you might want. I made another video sort of showing how you can hide and show different routes and sort of simplify your view. But let me just mention a few other things that we have. If I go back up to loaded routes, and again, whenever loaded routes is expanded, if you click on a route, it's just going to bring you to that route here. And you can solo it. You can hide the route entirely. I forget which one I clicked on, but you get the idea, right? But there's also this button here. So I'm going to solo this route, and I'm going to click this button, and I'm going to turn on all search paths. And now these are all of the isochrones and routes that were routed for that particular route. And the other thing I can do is, first of all, I now have a tooltip that tells me the isochrone line, but I can also change it to true wind speed and get a sense of what the wind field was doing. And so this is on a per route basis, but I also have wave models, and we have all, I'm not sure for the wave model how many ensemble members, but it looks like, let's say 50, the same number as the weather model. I've got 50 different wave models to choose from, and I can inspect individual ones, but then I can also look at the statistics. And so if I, for this route, click, let's say the maximum is what I want to visualize it by, I'll turn off these search paths. Now I can go down to routes, and instead of coloring by boat name, I can color by wave height. And this is now showing me, because I have the max of the model selected, it's showing me now the maximum wave height along the route for all of those wave models. Instead, I could also look at them individually and just select the specific wave model that I am interested in. So this was, let's see, let me unsolo that route. Back to viewing everything. So this was a look in, how do you do more sophisticated route analysis? Our next discussion will be on how to use this very, very powerful analysis tool to effectively find the edge that's going to win the race. One thing you have to be careful of is, and I try to include this in sort of like the design philosophy, but it's very tempting. Let me just color this by duration, and let me get rid of positions, and I'll just get rid of analysis. So this is now color coded by duration, and it's very tempting to just say, oh, well, what's the minimum duration here? I'm going to pick that route, and that's where I'm going to go. But you have to remember that the whole point of this is showing you the chaos from the weather models. And so just because there's a route that you like, that route is associated with a particular weather model that has some probability of being right and some probability of being wrong. And so what you're doing here, you want to avoid the anti-pattern of, oh, I like this route. It says we're going to get there in 10 days. Let's just pick this and go this way. That's the wrong way to use this tool. And so that's really what this analysis panel is for. This analysis panel is for helping you understand the probabilities, the evolution of those probabilities, and what the relative trade-offs are as it relates to the different competitors on the course. So I'll leave it for there, and we'll dive into the analysis panel separately. All right, thanks for watching.